Welcome to Switch Comics. My name is Marco, and we have a big stack of comics to go over this week. This is a little bigger than normal. A lot of it is cover buys. There was a lot of really cool covers that I wanted to pick up this week. A decent amount of stuff to read, so let's go ahead and hop into it. Well, I guess right before we hop into it, I got the treasure case over here, so something cool's inside here. And I will tell you, there's a few things in here today. So I'll reveal that later on in the video, but let me talk about some of the new comics this week. So we have Thor 28, and I've been a huge fan of this series. Really love Thor. Anything I've read from Donny Cates has been awesome. However, the last issue, only the plot was from Donny Cates and Al Ewing was writing. And I found that issue dreadfully boring. Same issue here, Ewing writing, plot from Donny Cates, plot from both of them actually. This issue, I can gladly say, is much better. I really like this. I thought there was some cool stuff going on, bringing back some old stuff, little bits and pieces from this Thor run, not old years and years before, but from this Thor run. Bringing back stuff, making something cool happen in this issue. A few pretty interesting things happen in this issue, and I'm pretty happy to say this was a good issue. I did enjoy it. I was very nervous after the last issue, which, by the way, Al Ewing took over. Donny Cates ended his Venom run, was an awesome run, and then Al Ewing took over, and I thought I've dropped the Venom run at this point because I just thought it was super boring. I really didn't like it. And so then Ewing started writing in Thor, and I was getting very nervous. But this was a good issue, and I'm happy about that. Now moving on to Moon Knight number 16, and Moon Knight, as always, or should it be this way? I guess it should be that way. Yeah. Moon Knight, as always, is a fantastic read. This whole run is absolutely amazing. A really cool issue again here. We are building up to another big thing, with this time kind of involving, so we get a little bit of hints of vampires and stuff throughout this series, but we're building towards a big vampire conflict here. The art is always incredible in this series. The way that Moon Knight's drawn, and there's so many just awesome, cool pages. Typically, in all these Moon Knight issues, the first and last page are the best. The rest of the art's really good, but they go all out for the first and the last page. This one, the first, not so much, but the last page is really nice, as always. But that being said, there's some really cool interior work. We also picked up this really cool, it kind of looks like a David Finch cover, but it's not. But yeah, really cool cover. I like that one a lot. And then moving on, kind of sticking to the theme a little bit here, we have Crypt of Shadows. Now, this is a one-shot little anthology story. I feel like this cover is a little misleading, and I didn't read into it. I knew it was a one-shot, and that's basically the extent of my knowledge. I thought this was going to be an awesome team-up. You got Man-Thing, Moon Knight, Elsa Bloodstone, X-23, and Bloodline. Elsa, why I said Elsa? I almost said Elsa's daughter. Blade's daughter, which hasn't been in much of anything really. I think she's been in one comic, because I'm pretty sure this is her second appearance and first cover. Anyway, I thought this was going to be an awesome team-up book. It's not. It's just anthology. The only two characters I think that are in the same story are Man-Thing and X-23. And with any anthology book, some stories are better than others, and I really didn't care too much for the Man-Thing and X-23 one, which I was super excited because if you've been following me for a while, I like Man-Thing. Not just a Man-Thing hype because he's was just in Werewolf by Night and everybody knows who he is now. I've always loved Man-Thing. I've always thought he's super cool, and I just feel like he gets done dirty a lot. This wasn't a super great story for him. Now, granted, there's some other stories in here, and there's other ones that I like. Surprisingly, I'm trying to think what my favorite one was. Maybe I don't know. They all just my problem with these like is they often just feel so short. There's like not too much satisfaction you can get from just because they're so tiny. But there's a Morbius one in here that I like. I like the one with Elsa Bloodstone. Um, but they were okay. I gotta say a little disappointed by Crypt of Shadows. I was really really excited for it, and it was a bit of a letdown. Especially a big of a letdown when I got all these cool covers. So this is a pretty rad cover. I do like that one. I think it's a Ryan Brown cover, which I don't typically care for his art. Maybe it's my bias, just again because I love Moon Thing or Man Thing. I'm looking at the Moon Knight here. Picked up this cover as well. Again, just I was so sure this was gonna be an awesome team up, and they had nothing to do with each other. And then I also picked up this super rad Ryan Stegman cover here with Morbius. And I don't really care too much about Morbius or whatever, whatever. But like I said, his story was pretty good, and that cover is really really sweet. But I love Stegman's work. And then moving on, kind of sticking still to the spooky theme, we have Midnight Suns. We picked up the game variant with Blade here, and this is a pretty good issue. I really enjoyed Midnight Suns. Someone enters this issue that wasn't in the last issue that was, in hindsight, is very obvious that they would show up. But yeah, I'm very glad that they did. It's a character I've recently been really enjoying, and so not gonna say who it is, just in case slight spoiler or whatever. But yeah, I'm really happy that they showed up in this issue. A really cool issue. I enjoyed that a lot. Only on issue number 2 there, so if you haven't hopped onto it, it's pretty good so far. And then I got some books, some Marvel books I haven't read here. So starting with Avengers, this is for Chris, which he's currently asleep right now because that's what he does every week is fall asleep, and I didn't feel like waking him up and have him read books because I got other things to do today. I have a bunch of voiceover work and stuff I have to do after this, and I'm also working on a Halloween special. It's going to be super super cool. Oh, I've put a lot of work into it already, and I have a lot more work to go into it. So I can't wait to be able to show that to you all. It's going to be really, really cool. I got something super special prepared. Then we have Captain America Symbol of Truth, another game variant with Red Wing. I almost said Falcon. Falcon's the man. And we also picked up the Jeff the Landshark variant. I don't know why they decided to start doing Jeff the Landshark variants, but I'm very happy that they did, even though, to the best of my knowledge, it's only 3, which there's one last week. There's that one, and then there's this one right here. I didn't see any more lined up to be coming out. Maybe they'll do some more later. But I love them. Look at how cute he is. Look at him. Anyway, so those are super cool. Really like those. If they make more, I will get more. And then I have Iron Man 24 here. This series is actually coming to a conclusion, and I still am dreadfully behind on it. I've been picking it up this entire time. I maybe have only read like the first 3 issues, but I am a big Iron Man fan, so I've been grabbing them. So then moving on to The Predator number 3. First issue was super fantastic. Second issue, in the beginning of any story, you have to take some time to set some things up, So they chose to do that in the second issue more so than the first issue, which was cool. Start off with a bang. Okay, we got to set some things up. This issue, number 3, pretty good. Also, really rad cover. I mean, lots of cool Predator covers. It's pretty easy to make a Predator look cool. He's just designed to be cool. But yeah, really like this issue. A bit more of setup. There's more so cool action in the beginning of this issue and setup in the last half of the issue. But regardless, still pretty cool. Ends with a interesting, exciting thing happening in the issue. So, definitely excited for the next one to come out. Now, I have Alien number 2, which I need to... it's a book that I'm not caught up on. I know there's only one more issue, but I haven't read the first issue, so I need to catch up on that one. There was a few cool covers on this one as well, but we decided to go with this one. And then I have... I think was it the B cover? No, it's the D cover for Darth Vader, number 28. Really, really cool cover there. I like that one a lot. I think it's super rad. I haven't started Vader. I have almost all of Vader. I think I'm missing number 6 or something. It's a key book that I just for a long time I've been looking for, and I just haven't been able to find. Probably just need to grab the trade or something and read that. Or no, I think I'm missing I think it might be issue 7. I think actually. So now all we have left is DC and independent books. But before we get into that, I think it's time to show you all. I've made you wait long enough to see what's in the treasure case. So I'm going to do it a little differently this time because I don't want you to see what's all in there. So I'm going to just slip out one thing. This finally came in the mail. I talked about it a little while back, but I finally got my copy of Junkyard Joe, signed by Jeff Johns. And it's personalized and everything. It says, to Marco. So this is my very own Junkyard Joe #1, cover A, signed by Jeff Johns, which is super, super nice. Now, I was super shocked when I was digging further into the box because they told me, that I would get. I can't remember if they specifically said a cover A, but I think they just said, you'd get a first issue. I cannot grab this other book in here. Oh my God, I'm struggling so hard. But I was very surprised to have this other thing in here, which is another Junkyard Joe #1, but this super cool black and white variant, again signed by Jeff Johns, and I hadn't seen this variant before. I tried to look it up, and I couldn't really find anything on it. I couldn't figure out, it's not like a ratio variant to the, again, this is to the best of my knowledge, I couldn't figure out what it was, so, let's see, it just says, I think it said something on here. Yeah, it just said cover by Brad Anderson. That's all it says back here. And it says Veterans Edition, which the Veterans Edition were just the black and white ones they did for all the covers. But I couldn't find a colored one. I couldn't find. I found a couple. I think a couple other signed ones on eBay, but they were just listed as variants, and they were also signed. I haven't seen one unsigned. So if anyone knows about this, I would love to know where this cover came from. I think it's a gorgeous cover. Again, I've talked so many times on the channel about how I don't like black and white art, mainly because I feel like most of the time black and white art is art that was meant to be colored and they ran out of budget. But this is gorgeous black and white art. It just looks amazing. So yeah, I would love to know more about this. I will keep trying to do more research on my own. But if somebody knows the answer and just wants to inform me, I would gladly accept. Now I got one more cool thing in here to show you. So for those who have been keeping up with the channel again, I've been working on different sets of collections. So, I've been doing, my Thor versus books are now above. Again, there's another row of comics up above here, and I got some Thor versus books up here of him fighting the Juggernaut, him fighting Iron Man. I got more than I'm trying to get to. So I have first Silver Surfer here. They're getting graded right now, so that's Fantastic Four 48. I have 49 and 50, the trilogy. The Galactus trilogy. Those two are getting graded right now, and hopefully we'll be back in a couple months or so. The other one that I'm working on, I'm trying to think. I know there's various sets that I'm kind of sort of working on, but it has been. Let's see. Wrong way. I have first Iron Fist here. I have a first Jessica Jones graded in my box of graded books, my extra graded books anyway. And then getting graded right now, I have a first Luke Cage. So I am working towards the Netflix Defenders team. And that being said, that leaves out Punisher and Daredevil. Daredevil, #1, is a book that I will not be able to get at least for a long time. It is a very, very expensive book. I am going to settle. I have a Daredevil #8 being graded at CGC, but I think it's been there for like a year and a half maybe. So who knows if I'll ever see that again. But it's not that expensive a book. I might just buy another one. Mine wasn't even that high of a grade anyway. I sent it so long ago that I didn't know that much about comics. So, I don't know. Who knows? But anyway, so First Punisher is also a very pricey book. Sorry for this long-winded explanation. But I decided to pick up something to supplement it for the meantime. A very, very cool, very hard book to find, and I meant to check it up on to see how many are in the census, but I picked up Punisher 218, the television variant. This is the one with John Bernthal. Got it at a 9.6. I was looking at some raw copies, and some beat to hell raw ones were going for like $100. So I watched this one. It was an auction. It was at $300, and nobody else bid on it. And I got it for $300, and I was like, yeah, I'd rather spend $300 on a 9.6 than $100 on one that's just super super beat. But yeah, so I will be doing some rearranging on the wall to get this on there, as I'll go ahead and put Alias 1 First Jessica Jones up there, and I'll be waiting on my Luke Cage, and then I don't know. I got to make a decision on what to do with Daredevil, because like I said, I technically already own that book, but I might just buy another one. I don't know. I'm at this point, like, I'm so close to having. Well, I really have a couple months. Like I said, it'll probably be a couple months until my Luke Cage comes back. So I have until then to decide what to do, and then I'll have my Netflix Defenders, and then eventually I'll get First Punisher and upgrade into that. But I have that one for now, and it is a super cool book, and one that kind of the idea of really wanting Punisher anyway is I do think he will be returning into the MCU at some point, and with that in mind, like, I want to get that book before that happens, to not spend a crazy amount of money, kind of like with Daredevil. That book was already expensive, but now is definitely out of reach for me to buy. So I would like to do that with Punisher before that is also completely out of reach for me to buy. But that being said, if that does happen and John Bernthal returns, obviously this book would shoot up a lot in value as well. Won't be as much as First Punisher, but still, it would be a much harder book to find. And like I said, by the way, full black front and back cover, so very hard book to take care of. All the ones, like I said, so much rubbing on the back I saw on those crappy copies, like really really bad rubbing. So yeah, a little bit of spec talk there. If you're interested in the Punisher, want to pick up some books, maybe if you think he's gonna return, that one is very hard to find. There's not many for sale or sold on eBay. So yeah, best of luck if that's what you're going to be after. Now let's go ahead and get into the end of our books here. So we have a single DC book with Batman the Knight, number 10 of 10. So this is the finale. Been a pretty good series. Really, really enjoyed this. Again, not a big Batman fan, not a big DC guy in general, but I decided to check it out because it is Chip Zdarsky writing, and it's been a pretty good run. Kind of the only thing that really kind of sours this for me in a little way is Zdarsky's now also writing the main Batman line, and I actually have been really, really enjoying that. So like I was enjoying this, and then I started reading the main Batman line with Zdarsky, and for me that kind of overshadowed this. So I've been like less excited. Again, good, but I think the main Batman run right now is great. So good though. I enjoyed it. I would recommend it to people, and it's just a little 10-issue run, you know. But yeah, definitely if you haven't checked out, Zdarsky takes over at 125, and then we're at like at 130 or 131 now. I can't remember, but yeah, it's been really good. And then let's see, got just a few more books in a way. So the next one has a lot of covers. So this next one I'm going to talk about a little bit here, but I'm going to have an additional video, and I'll kind of explain. There'll be a separate video specifically talking about this comic. So we have Alpha Beta's number 1. This is going to be a series. There was a pilot episode that came out about a year ago, and there's a series coming out October 31st, so on Halloween. Yeah, and so it's going to be, I think, on YouTube. Actually, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know if it's going to be going to something else. Also, it's a Whatnot comic, and I'm not 100% sure because I don't keep up with Whatnot, but maybe Whatnot's first comic, I think. I might be wrong on that. I'm not trying to spread misinformation, but it might be, which is kind of neat, maybe. But yeah. Anyway, so this comic, the team behind it, and behind the show and everything, which I actually didn't know there was going to be a comic. I knew the show was in the works, but I had no idea there was a comic. And then I was pulling out the comics this week, and I was like, oh wow, well I guess I'm going to grab that because there's some YouTubers that I've been watching for many years. The biggest YouTuber and Even he's called the name of the group is named after him. His name is Vanos, and so it's called the Vanos Crew. And he's like I think near 26 million subscribers on YouTube. Absolutely massive YouTuber. But also the Terrorizer, Wildcat. Basically, I do work, and there's other people going to be involved as well. But those are some of the bigger people involved in this book. And yeah, it's kind of I think it's got some. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's got some involvement with the Rick and Morty crew, or somebody that involved. It's kind of got like the style of it as well, which I've never watched Rick and Morty. I know some people would find that blasphemous, but I don't know. Just never a show that I've turned on. But anyway, basically video gamers and they have to save the world. Short premise. Like I said, I'm going to be making another video about it. I did pick up, we had 4 covers, so we got that one as well. We got this cool Super Mario Bros. Homage video game variant, and then we got this one as well. So those are all the covers that I picked up, and yeah, I enjoyed it. I think overall I'm going to be more excited to watch the series. Something you can probably do if you're maybe interested in possibly checking out the comic and maybe you're not sure, go watch the trailer. They just recently released a trailer. Search Alpha Beta's trailer. It'll pop up on YouTube. Watch that, see if it seems like it might be something you're interested in. And like I said, there's also a pilot episode that they released about a year ago. You can watch that as well. If that, if you like those, then you'd probably be interested in checking out the comic. Then we got just a couple more books here. So we have Public Domain number 5. To my knowledge, this is not the end of the series, but probably the end of the volume. It doesn't look like there's any more recent, or not recent, but there's no more books coming up soon for this series. But it didn't feel like an ending. It didn't feel like this story is over. It felt like a certain chapter was definitely close, though. I've really enjoyed Public Domain. Definitely not for everybody. There's no action. It's just people talking. It's about comics, about the creators of comics, and in this world, their Spider-Man is called Domain. You know, not specifically Spider-Man, but you know, their big hero is a character called Domain, and it's about the creators of that character and their families and stuff like that. And it kind of sounds boring to explain, but it's just well written. And again, you know, Zdarsky writing, so I was definitely interested just because it was Zdarsky, and it was definitely very different. And I don't mind reading something that, you know, it didn't always have to be Moon Knight and, you know, Iron Man and whatever. You know, I like other stuff too. So, and then to go to the last book here, we have Eve, Children of the Moon. This is issue number 1, but a follow-up series to Eve from last year, which was just a 5-issue series that I quite enjoyed. Basically about a girl that wakes up into I think it was like a biochemically destroyed world and has to save it. Short story. And so by the end of Eve, it's saved. There's a lot of work to be done, but it's saved. And so this is kind of the first steps after that. So, yeah, pretty good first issue. Definitely had I was kind of worried. So it's like, what do you do after the world is saved? How do you make it interesting? You know what I mean? How do you make a story like that continue? And they introduced something here at the, nearish the end that was pretty cool. I like the, I don't want to say twist, but extra road bump. You know, because again, it's about saving the world, and it's like, oh, here's another problem, and it's not just the world's ending again. You know, it felt pretty interesting. I don't have all the information, obviously, it's just the first issue, but yeah, I really liked the direction it was going with. I was like I said, a tad bit worried. I was like, I don't know about that. But that is my haul for this week. Like I showed you earlier, absolutely massive stack of comics. I get a good discount, you know, working at a comic shop. I still spent $70 on my weekly pulls. That is, it's pretty massive. But like I said, there was a lot of cover buys this week. In hindsight, I probably don't care a ton about all those Crypt of Shadows variants anymore, and those are $5.99 each. But yeah, that book to me wasn't super great. It was okay at best. But that being said, very very excited to get these. I kind of forgot about them because it's been a little bit since I did that video where I got to read issues 1 through 3 early, and I did a review. If you haven't checked it out, go check it out on the channel. Short answer is I really really enjoy the series. The first 3 issues are amazing. But yeah, so excited to get. Like I said, I knew about this one. And so, like, I was already excited about that coming in the mail, but to get something I wasn't expecting at all, and I still don't even entirely know what it is, and I just think it's a gorgeous, gorgeous cover. This one, I might just have to get slabbed and throw it up on the wall. I think that is a gorgeous book. And then this one definitely is going up on the wall. Like I said, I got to make some room. I don't know what's coming down or what's being rearranged. I'll have to do something. But yeah, there is my haul for the week. Quite an expensive one, all things considered. But as always, I would love to know what books you're reading this week. If it was something that I read as well, that you enjoyed, didn't enjoy, something I'm not reading that I should be reading, let me know in the comments. And that's all I have for you this week. And I will see. Oh, we're streaming tonight. I think we're going to be opening up some action figures. Might be playing some games after that. That's my rough plan for now. So, thank you all so much for checking out the video. I know it was kind of a long one. I was very long-winded. But I will see you next time.